Hey, I want to welcome our viewers to a restaurant-focused podcast. We are have a guest that's a little bit further away from Atlanta than most. He's from actually where my grandmother is, and coming from Ireland, we have Martin. So I'm going to have Martin introduce himself, tell you who the company he's with, and actually who he serves, and then we'll get to know Martin. All right, Martin, go ahead. And sorry, I got Lucas on the line too, who's probably the best golfer that I know around.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Martin. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Pete. My name is Martin Phelan. I'm in Ireland. That's where I'm from, a place called Kilkenny, lovely medieval city. But I'm in Dublin right now. Our offices are in Dublin. But Kilkenny is my home spot. And I have a company. The company is called Bullshark Technologies, and it's located here in Dublin. And also we are in the States. And what we do is new. It's a thing called we have the grease shark, and the grease shark basically is used for keeping the grease and the fogs out of your kitchen hood and extract ducting and the extract fans. So it keeps the grease out. And what we use is enzymes. So we spray and mist in enzymes into your kitchen extract system, and the enzymes work away there all the time. They're working 24/7, so you're keeping a clean system 24/7. Basically, that's what we do. It's something that was born out of a need. I mean, we have been doing duct cleaning here in Ireland and some in the UK as well for the last number of years. But with the arrival of COVID and all these, we're at full employment here in Ireland as well. It was getting harder and harder to get staff to come on board to do manual cleaning because it's has to be done at night time, and it's not a nice job. And so I started looking around. I said we have to get something going here, and I've always loved innovation. It's something I've always had an interest in. I even have taken courses in innovation and how to get things across the line. That's how interested I am in innovation. So I got down, started thinking about things, how we do this, and went out. I went to Norway. I went up to Denmark. I was in Germany, in the UK, and over in the States, looking at there's other systems out there, different other systems. But I decided, look, I was wondering could I take an agency for any of them, but I wouldn't because they didn't suit. So I got down and I got a design team on board, and I got a very good guy, Aurelian Lazarat, and Aurelian, very well qualified guy. He basically he holds patents with Intel, jointly with Intel. I think he's one of the few that does. He's a good guy and big into innovation. I met him through innovation conference meetings and so forth.
Yeah.
So I went to him, explained what I do. He knew what I did anyway, but we sat down and went through it in detail and discussed all the pros, cons, and straight through from what we do every day, how we do it, and then we need to solve the problem. And it took us over 3 years of development to get the grease shark to where it is.
What do you think, Martin? Like when you look at the market, what did you see out there that wasn't being addressed, and then what was your thought process in really kind of tackling that?
Yeah,
I mean, I understand what you're doing, but I don't understand exactly how that problem got solved.
Yeah, there were a few issues. There were a few issues that need to be addressed. When I was doing research, I spoke to customers, but I also spoke to other people that weren't customers of mine. Most of them weren't, and some would have had issues with the quality of the clean. The guys were, the they clean the hood fine and some of the can, but I mean, they might leave stuff behind or dirty things. And also, but the biggest issue was getting to inaccessible areas. Now, no matter how good of a manual duct cleaner you are, if you can't get into an area, you can't get into it. If it's inaccessible, it's inaccessible. So that was an issue came up, and I also spoke with with fire chiefs, and they arose that issue as well about the inaccessibility in ducting. So we went on and we designed a machine, but we also needed to design very good enzymes that would get into those areas and test it. Obviously, we had to do testing to validate that before the market. And what we found was, when we got in the enzymes, the first test, we were getting rid of grease, but we were getting a huge amount of residue. So we tested that residue. We took samples of it. So we learned we just don't treat the grease. We learned then that we have to have enzymes in there for fats, and we have to have enzymes in there for proteins, because they're byproducts of burgers and the meats and so forth. We were getting the grease, that's absolutely fine, but there was a lot of residue coming down out of these areas. So we're using the cameras, inspection cameras with the gooseneck, the gooseneck thing on the camera on it to get in to look at the areas. And once we got the enzyme issue addressed, and that took a while. It took us a few months to get that addressed properly, and to keep testing. But I think that was one of the biggest things we solved, was getting in that now the enzymes get into where inaccessible areas and get the grease in there. And we're now getting the grease out of all those places. And we've had a few case studies as well. We had in Dublin here, I don't want to say the name of the restaurant, obviously, but they had a particularly serious problem with a lot of the inaccessible ducting, and no one could get to it. Now, we weren't their company, partner company in doing this. Was another company. But I became aware of it, and I approached them and told them about the grease shark and told them what we were doing and so forth. And they said, "Yeah, go ahead. Let's see how this works." So we took it out then into a real live site, and the results were absolutely brilliant, astounding. That company has gone on to put the grease shark into the other two. They have 3 places in total. They put it into the other 2 places, but the other 2 places weren't having issues with accessibility or anything. But this particular one in Dublin city centre was having a major issue, and like they were losing. They were having to clean practically on a monthly basis, because grease that was being formed. It wasn't getting out. It wasn't even able to get out of the system, so it was a disaster. So they didn't have to change their ducting or anything like that. The grease shark has solved that problem for them, and that's when we really knew. Then we had been testing it and it was tested in university, in the SETU University, by Dr. Kieran Germain. He was the head scientist, and he told us, he had validated it and given it the white paper. But this was the first real test before we went to market. Let's push it into this place, because this was a real test and it worked. And
what would you say, like, because I'm familiar with the systems in the kitchen. Is this over mostly grease? I mean, where they're deep frying things, or is it smoke?
Yeah, we covered. Yeah, well, we covered this. So you go into a kitchen, you have a hood.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And are you doing anything? Because in my years, I'd see these metal like vents and things that they pull out and clean. Are you saying your system, you're doing that? Are you addressing it inside the hood, or how is it working?
Yeah, we are addressing inside the hood. Inside the hood is where the big issue is. Inside the hood is where it's contained, and you need to have it contained for the enzymes to work.
Okay.
Outside of the hood is not cleaned because that's because we need containment, because otherwise the enzymes just can go anywhere.
Okay.
But it's contained in the hood, in the plenum, it's called, in there, in behind the filters. And actually, what we found, and we didn't design this, and we hadn't this in our design or thought about this in our design, but what we found is that in a lot of hoods, that the filters are obviously being cleaned as well. But the
Right.
enzyme, and what people do now is that they flick around the filters every few days themselves, and it avoids having to put them into tanks or soak tanks or wash them themselves.
Okay.
I think they were doing themselves. So I mean, but that came out by, I have to say, by accident. We didn't we hadn't that in mind when we were designing the grease shark. It was to keep the grease out of it. That's where the real concentration is, Pete. Is in there. Is in that area. Is in the hood area, and that's if there's going to be a fire, when the flames get up there, it's that it catches fire.
How do you like I'm familiar with, some of the supply companies that come in and do the cleaning. So with your technology over there, are you looking for partners that would take your enzymes and technology and implement it into their system? And so because it's more efficient than what they're doing, is that your primary goal?
Yeah, here? I mean, we're looking for partners there. Lucas is working hard on that there at the moment. We're looking for partners in the States, and we've had meetings, and we had a very good meeting actually yesterday with a big partner on the west side. But I mean, we're looking for partners, mainly people in the business, that are involved in duct cleaning, because they know and understand the business. They have the customers.
Yeah.
They also have challenges in that. I mean, a lot of the duct cleaners we were talking to are all having challenges with staff and retaining staff, keeping staff. And this is a way they can keep their customers, and don't have to carry the same staff levels at all. Plus, it would be easier for them to get staff because it takes away the cleaning. So it now becomes an install or service situation, which is much more easier to recruit for. And anyone that has that will tell us that anyone that has that. We have a company in London, not our own company, a distributor in London, who's in the duct cleaning business.
Yeah.
Basically, they again, they all told us, in the end, look, we have issues here recruiting staff. It's just so hard to recruit staff.
Yeah, that's a challenge over here.
But now,
if I'm understanding, who to introduce you to, how do you and Lucas? I know I've known Lucas for a while, but how did y'all kind of connect as far as? Oh, and let me just tell our viewers, Lucas, introduce yourself so our viewers can you're there, and I kind of overlooked that. I won't do that on the golf course, because then I'll find out that I'm probably going to be on the short end of the score. Go ahead, Lucas. Introduce yourself.
Thank you, Pete, for having me as again. It's probably the third podcast that we do together or something like that. So it's always fun to be here. But yeah, my name is Lucas Mota, and I'm an ex-KSU athlete. I used to play golf for their team. And recently I thought that I wanted to explore. I wanted to get to know people and, work in some projects or see how could I help people. And, we I ran into Martin through my other boss, and we got to know each other. And as soon as I knew about the product, about the machine, I was like, well, this is something that is very interesting. This is something that it's going to make me feel good about it, because I can be part of something good and that has future projections. So I was like, Martin, let me join your team. I will help you in the way I can. I mean, I love restaurants. I love everything about it. I love food. So definitely was in an industry that obviously caught my interest. So, Martin let me join his team, and I was like, let's do it. Let's see how far we can go. And then obviously through our friendship, Pete, I was like, well, I'm sure Pete can help, can put his little piece of sand, no, in this and help it grow as well.
Yeah, it's funny when you told me about it, and I said, well, I've spent 12 years on the distributor side, so I would see the venting, cleaning, and the kitchen and all the challenges within the restaurant is really because fires in the restaurant, just all the different things that go into the venting system. So let me go that and it captured my attention when you said what exactly it did. Let me ask Martin. So do you feel like this is like, I always look at, how products affect an industry, and they kind of come in with something new and different, and it saves money, it saves time, all these things. Do you see it as an industry disruptor? What do you feel like as you sit from your chair, Martin? What do you think for the restaurateur that's struggling with the labor, keeping that clean, using your technology, do you feel like it can disrupt the industry?
It's a disruptor for sure.
Okay.
It's for sure it's a disruptor, because no matter who I've introduced it to, no matter who, no one has ever said to me, no, I'm not interested. Nobody. And I can put my hand on my heart and say that. No one has ever said to me, go away. That's not, it's like, I know in the future, I'm definitely within the next 5 to 10 years, you will see a lot of this out there. I mean, people, even from if you be a restaurant owner, it's having people come into your restaurant, and especially if you're 24-hour operation, you have to close down when the canopy the duct cleaners come in. You have to close down. There's no other way around it. So that's time lost, and you're paying staff as well as paying the cleaners for doing this, and that can be as frequent as every 3 months, and which is costly. But by having a grease shark in, your system is cleaned 24/7. And so you've been a restaurant owner, Pete, okay? So you look at this way for value for money as well. So you have had the duct cleaners in. They've been in last night. They've cleaned the hood and they've cleaned everything, and they've done a great job, and you're delighted. But you look at that system in 2 weeks' time, and you say, oh gosh, there's grease there again. And you look at it again in 6 weeks' time, oh, there's a lot more grease there again. But whereas you look at, if you have a grease shark in, you look, and every time you look, there's no grease there. The grease is
really. How long does it take for that? Like if you put it in, I had a restaurant, and you put it in, how long am I going to see it? Would it take a couple weeks, a week? How long does
what we do, Pete, is we actually clean the system just before we install. We clean the system. So we start with hitting the ground running. Absolutely, start hitting the ground running. Once we clean the system and start putting in the enzymes. So basically, the enzymes sit on the walls of the hood and the walls of the thing, and every time we spray, we term it as seeding. So we're seeding. So the enzymes are multiplying. They're living organisms. They're multiplying the whole time. Now some of them go out because they get carried with the airflow, and they get out through the extract. They go out through the fans, which is you're supposed to do anyway. But we do seeding as well, and that means that they're in there the whole time, and they keep it clean. And that's why you don't get the build up of grease anymore, because the concentration of enzymes is higher than the grease content coming up, and that's something we establish a survey. So we have to beat the amount of enzymes that's coming up there, because our amount of grease is coming up there. So we have to look at what's being cooked. Your burgers, your steaks. We need to know what's being cooked. So we need to know, so if it's in a restaurant that's not doing burgers, well, you don't need the same concentration of enzyme there, because you don't have the same fats and protein coming up out of the kitchen. But the point I was making is that, so from your point of view as a restaurant owner, you look, it's clean, it stays clean, and by nature of manual cleaning, it's like it's clean for a day, 2 days, but then the grease is building up and it's building up and it's building up. Yep. But as your grease is building up, so is your danger level going up. Because if there's grease in there and there happens to be flames from a wok or something go up, and it can catch fire, and it's happened umpteen times. There's generally, looking at stats, there's around 8,000 fires per annum in the States from hoods. That's no small number. And if there's no grease there, there's no grease there to catch fire, but then it doesn't catch fire.
Right.
And that's the most important area to catch is the plenum of the hood, because that's where the fire will catch. If it catches there, then the flames get pulled in and up the duct with the fan. So that's what happens.
So what do you think, like, when it comes to entering a market? Are you looking to find the people that are already have access to that type of cleaning? They're just going to take your system and take it to a different level? Is that like, and they would say, like, okay, my margins are going to be better. I'm not going to need as much help, and I can do a better job than anything out there. Is that the value proposition to somebody that's taking your technology to the market?
Yeah. So we're looking out there. That's for the guys that are duct cleaners that have been there for a good number of years, that are vastly experienced, that they know what they're talking about. They know they have been doing the job for years and years. Okay. And there's some very good ones out there. And they're the people that we're talking to. And
do you need
it's actually
to
very easy
train
talking to them. Sorry?
Do you need to train them? I mean, how?
Oh yeah, the installation is actually not hard, but we train them how to install. We bring one of our own guys, and we will go out with their engineers as well, out onto sites to make sure that they're doing it properly, and that we can sign off on them, because we need to make sure that it's been installed properly. But it's not a very hard job to do. But still, you do need training. We just don't hand over, and we keep a backup service to all our distributors. Like we would be in touch with our distributors on a weekly basis. We would never let a week go by that we wouldn't be in touch with a distributor to make sure everything's
okay. What would you think, like, because I have a friend that owns a bunch of Zaxby's, and so if I own, let's say, 15 Zaxby's, what's the advantage for me? Do I both have cleaner vents? Do I save a lot of money? Tell me why I should consider, embracing your technology. Is it a safety issue, a cost issue, or a combination of all of them?
Yeah. So basically, for you, the big advantage for you is, first of all, your danger level is gone down completely, because you don't have grease in your system anymore. It's clean 24. It's clean 24/7. You finish with the scheduling of it. That's over and done with. So it's a safer area for your customers, safer area for your staff to work in, which is hugely important. Then obviously we ought to think about too we're all running businesses, so we have to think of the money end of things. And obviously it is actually, if it's not the same, it's cheaper to have this system, especially long term. It's way cheaper. It's way cheaper to have it in long term, which is a major advantage, right? Now, in certain parts of the states as well, it won't matter really to Georgia, Atlanta, Florida, but maybe up northern states, we have found, because the grease shark has removed the grease from, and the proteins and the fats from the system, that we are now able to capture and harvest the warm air that's coming up out of the kitchen exhaust, and use it and reuse it to heat water, or to put it into an air handling unit to help reheat your building. And that is proving a huge hit here in Ireland and the UK, because the weather is got cold here right now. But we also have the additional problem here in Ireland that we have very, very high energy costs. But it will work in parts of the states where there's cold, where it gets cold over the winter. In helping reducing your energy costs, because the air, before, you couldn't do this pre the grease shark, because if you did, all these heat exchangers have coils, and the coils would be blocked with grease within 2 weeks tops, and it would just be a complete waste of money. That's eliminated now. The coils no longer. The coils, we made no changes to any heat exchangers. There was we didn't need to do it, so we're now starting to put them in. Well, we can do it for you, but some people have gone ahead and done it, got in their own guy of preference, partner company, and installed heat exchangers to heat water or to heat the building through the air handling unit, and you reduce your energy, because a lot of times there can be huge amount of heat coming up out of the kitchens. And
do you feel that the insurance companies would embrace it because of the safety factor being much better? So if less fires, less hazards, they're gonna save money because they're gonna want something like this in place. Is that something that's easy to be able to pinpoint, that because you're reducing the grease and the chances of fire, that's obviously reduced the risk for restaurants, which grease fires in restaurants are,
I had contact from an underwriter.
Okay.
Who spoke to me about the grease shark. Now, I mean, I obviously had sent out the details to them anyway, but he contacted me. And basically, here in Ireland, there's what we often call, and you'll have them in the States, listed buildings, old buildings. And there's a certain area in Dublin that there's a lot of listed buildings that would have a lot of restaurants in the area. And I'm talking to them right now. They're very interested in having the grease shark installed in those restaurants, because if a fire happens there and a building is destroyed, it costs a lot more money to replace that building, a listed building, than it does an ordinary building, because of the historical factors, and you have to put back everything the way it was. More, and that's where he was coming from. And that was the conversation he was having with me a few weeks ago, was, we want to really explore this, because it's something that he would make it safe for us as an insurance business.
Okay. No, I see it. I obviously apply. I have a friend, and he's in restaurant underwriting. So he basically insure. There's a couple factors he looks for, but it's not necessarily that specific thing, but that's what he does. He writes restaurants. And so if they can reduce their liability, they're more than open to be able to encourage their restaurants to get something that's going to lower the risk, which is going to lower your premiums. And, that's a given there. So we could introduce you to people like that. What do you do about restaurant shows? Is this something that we're shows?
We haven't gone to any restaurant shows yet in America, but I'm planning on doing the show in Chicago next April or May. The National Restaurant Show. I think that'd be a very good show to go to. I attended it last year myself, just as I gave 3 days at it. I thought it was an excellent show. I've been to a lot of shows. I was hugely impressed by that show. I really was. So I will more than likely take a stand at that.
Yeah, I mean, they have obviously a lot of reach. And I know the distributors, because I work for Cisco and US Foods, and, they're always looking for, things that'll add value to, what they do. And when their salespeople can at least recommend things that'll help their value proposition to restaurants, they're always open to that. So, getting through the distributor network to be able to introduce, because each salesperson has usually about 40 restaurants, maybe 30 to 40 is the way they work. And then you got the chains and you have all that kind of stuff. They go through a lot of a different distribution network, but independence is where the distributors have a big foothold, but they have different divisions of it. So that might be something. They're always looking for cutting edge technology that will give them, a little bit edge over their competition. So I think that the trouble with the restaurant show, it's so big. I mean, it's
very big. Yeah, it is big.
I mean, massive, yeah. You're like a needle in a haystack. And so you almost have to do a lot of work ahead of time to be able to leverage, the meetings and the connections. But the idea that everybody's there looking for cutting edge things that'll make their operation more efficient, save money, all that kind of thing. So why don't I wanted to give our viewers just a little bit of information so they can understand what you have. We'll put in the show notes some links, but how can people get a hold of you, Martin?
You can go onto our website at www.thegreaseshark.com.
Okay.
There's a contact page there. Please contact us. You can contact Lucas. Lucas is based in Atlanta there. You can contact Lucas, and Lucas is more than happy to talk to you, set a meeting with you if you want to. I myself travel back over there once a month.
Okay.
So I'm over there as well. And as it gets busier, you'll be more a lot there, a lot longer. So definitely Lucas.
Yeah, and we'll put Lucas's contact information in the show notes too. So
we'll put
I guess all over there, but Lucas is going to help you in the U.S., so he'll be a good contact person for our people over here and open up some doors for you.
Sure.
And so I like to have you back on maybe at a later date and dig deeper into some of the success stories and just, because once people start trying it, it sounds like they just have to put it in and experience it, because every restaurateur knows about, the hoods and the issues with grease. I mean, that's not like that's a constant thing like anything in the restaurant. So we'll definitely do that. And I want to thank you, Martin. And as we're leaving, what would you want our viewers to take home? Give us a little bit of, we always like to have our guests just leave our viewers with something of value.
Yeah, I just say first of all, thanks for the opportunity to speak to your viewers. I really appreciate it, and Luke's there as well. we really appreciate this opportunity, Peter. Thanks very much for that. But we would like to get our message out there to it. By all means, come talk to us. Come talk to Lucas. Let's see it in action. See it work for yourself.
Yep.
And I can say, if nothing else, it's going to give you peace of mind as a restaurant owner, because I mean, I know it's not in the back of your mind every day that my place is going to go on fire or things like that, but it does give a peace of mind there that you are looking after your premises, you are looking after your staff and customers by keeping the whole thing safe. But that's another less thing that you have to worry about anymore.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about grease or scheduling grease anymore, or scheduling cleans, because I know sometimes it can happen that it just slips through the cracks and it doesn't happen. Which can happen, but it's not going to happen with the grease shark, because it's working away there, and it's not in a way. And by the way, the enzymes, I meant to say, the enzymes are completely food safe. There's no harm whatsoever, none. You can actually, I've actually got them in my eyes. I've had them on my hands. There's there's no danger to you whatsoever with skin or anything or inhaling. They're completely food safe.
Okay. That is awesome.
It's peace of mind. Yeah.
Yes. Well, in the restaurant business, peace of mind is big, because it's not easy running restaurants these days, especially with the labor challenges and what COVID did to change the dynamics of restaurants. So they're definitely looking for ways to, just make the work environment better and make their restaurants better. That's so we want to thank Martin and Lucas. Thanks for your help of putting this together, so we can make sure that Martin's not a best kept secret in the U.S.
No, thank you, Pete. I'm happy to be part of this, helping Martin grow his business and help you grow your podcast. So
absolutely,
I enjoy being part of this.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys both, and we appreciate you.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Lucas. Okay.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Take care.